Ever feel like technology is kind of magical? Like when you see a new gadget or app and you're just like, how did they do that?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Well, today we're diving deep into a group that takes that feeling seriously, that sense of magic.
Okay.
The Technomancy Circle, part of the Moneyless Society.
Oh, interesting.
You might remember them from our last deep dive.
Yeah, vaguely. They're all about, like, reimagining the world without money, right?
Exactly, getting rid of traditional currency entirely.
Right, right.
But today, we're zeroing in on the Technomancy Circle and how they see technology as, well, the key to making that happen.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So how do they, like, connect technology to a moneyless society?
They believe tech can reshape society, from the ground up,
Yeah.
really put the power back in the hands of communities. So, first things first, what is technomancy?
Yeah, it sounds kind of like, well, actual magic.
Right. This article we've got defines it as, like, harnessing tech to create almost impossible changes, magical changes.
Okay, so not literal magic, but
Not summoning digital demons or anything, although it kind of feels that way sometimes. But really, it's about looking beyond how we usually think about technology.
okay, I'm listening.
And
Uh,
they're not afraid of the unknown, which I find fascinating.
Really?
Yeah, the article talks a lot about navigating ambiguity. Like, the old ways are crumbling, so we might as well get comfortable with uncertainty and invent something better.
So they're embracing the unknown.
Exactly. They believe that's where the real breakthroughs happen, when we're willing to question everything.
Makes sense. I mean, that's how innovation often works, right? True breakthroughs rarely come from playing it safe.
Totally. And the article specifically mentions two members, Lava and Jade. They're all about finding those solutions that we can't even see yet, rethinking everything.
So it's like a complete paradigm shift in how we approach technology.
Exactly, a total overhaul. And a big part of that is their focus on open source technology.
Ah, open source. Okay. So how do they, like, actually put that into practice?
Well, the article talks about how companies like, say, Google and Facebook,
Yeah.
while they're obviously innovative, they can sometimes kind of,
Stifle things.
yeah, by hoarding their technology. Like they've got the recipe for amazing cookies locked away in a vault.
Uh-huh. I like that analogy.
Right. And the technomancers are all about sharing the recipe, making it a global brainstorming session where everyone benefits.
Makes sense. So it's about democratizing access to knowledge and resources.
Exactly. And they're not just talking about it, they've actually created this open source platform called MAN NOA.
Man NOA. Okay, tell me more about that. What is it?
It's designed to be a space where anyone can contribute to developing tech solutions. No corporate walls, no secrets.
Wow, so it's a very different model than what we're used to.
Totally. Because instead of a handful of corporations controlling everything, we'd have this system where communities have the power to shape the technology they use.
That's a pretty radical idea when you think about it.
Right. And it ties into what they call horizontal power structures, which I know sounds kind of complicated.
Yeah, but break that down for me. What do they mean by horizontal?
But it basically means instead of like this top-down approach where a few big players call all the shots,
Right.
it's more about power being distributed evenly, like in a community garden. Everyone has a say.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So instead of like a massive corporate farm, it's more like
Exactly.
everyone tending their own little plot.
Exactly. Everyone tending their own little plot and sharing the harvest. It's about bringing that same kind of ethos to technology.
I see, I see. So it's about collaboration, community ownership.
Exactly. And it ties back to this whole idea of technology being a force for good, even a form of magic, which I have to admit, I kind of love.
Yeah, the article definitely plays with that idea.
Right. But they're not talking about actual spells and potions, right? More like
No, not literally. Haha.
more like recognizing that tech, when it's done right, with intention, with creativity,
Yeah.
it can create these experiences that feel almost magical,
Right.
even though we know it's all based on like science and engineering. Think
Yeah.
about the printing press, right?
Yeah, the example.
Back then, the idea of sharing knowledge so widely, so easily,
It must have seemed impossible.
must have seemed like pure magic. And in a way, it was, right? A kind of magic that transformed the world.
Absolutely. And that's what's so exciting about technology, I think.
Yeah.
That it has that power to, like, fundamentally change things.
Totally. And we've all had that moment, right? Where a piece of tech just works so seamlessly, so intuitively, you're just like,
It just works.
whoa, this is magic. And the technomancers are saying, let's lean into that. Let's design tech that doesn't just solve practical problems, but also sparks that sense of wonder, that feeling of possibility.
It's about reclaiming that magic, that awe that we often feel with technology and using it to, like, shape a better future.
Exactly. And when communities have more control over the technology they use, it's more likely that the tech will actually reflect their values, their needs.
Absolutely. It's about making sure that technology serves the people who use it, not just the people who create it.
Right. Instead of just getting like another social media app designed to keep us glued to our screens all day.
Ah, yeah, we've got enough of those.
Right. It's about using tech to address real problems, to create positive change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about moving away from that top-down model of innovation where a few companies decide what's best for everyone
Mm-hmm.
and embracing a more collaborative, bottom-up approach.
I like that. Bottom up. So like instead of tech being dictated from on high, it's more like,
It's bubbling up from the grassroots.
yes,
Yeah.
bubbling up from the grassroots. Exactly.
Yeah,
Imagine communities using platforms like MAN to develop tools that address their specific needs, you know?
exactly. Like hyperlocal challenges.
Hyperlocal. I love that word.
Whether it's like finding sustainable energy solutions or creating accessible education resources, the possibilities are pretty much endless.
It's like crowdfunding, but for tech solutions that actually benefit the community.
Exactly. And this approach, it doesn't just create more equitable access to technology. It also leads to more creative and innovative solutions because you have people from all walks of life bringing their unique perspectives and experiences to the table.
Totally. It's like that quote from the article. The old systems are failing, but technomancy offers a path forward.
It's a bold statement,
That is bold.
but I think it speaks to the optimism and like the unwavering belief that the Technomancy Circle has in the power of technology when it's used with the right intentions.
Yeah, it's not just about like shiny new gadgets. It's about using tech to create more just and fulfilling future for everyone.
Exactly. And the best part is they're not just waiting for this future to happen. They're actively building it. They're creating the tools, fostering the community, and working to turn their vision of a more equitable and, dare I say, magical tech-driven world into a reality.
It's inspiring, really, but it also kind of begs the question, right? Like, what could a little technomancy magic do in our own lives? You know, it's easy to get caught up in the big picture,
Right.
but this idea of using tech for good, of empowering communities, it can start small, right?
Absolutely. And that's exactly the kind of thinking they're hoping to inspire. It's about looking at the systems around us, the things we take for granted,
Mm.
and asking ourselves, what if things could be different? Like, what if technology could actually help us build a better future, a more equitable future?
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of technomancy, we want to leave you with this. What area of your life could use a little of that technomancy magic?
Yeah, think about it.
What feels stuck? What feels outdated? What could be improved with a little tech-savvy ingenuity?
Exactly. Could it be something on a local level? Like, what if you used an app to organize a neighborhood tool sharing library?
Oh, that's cool.
Or maybe something with even broader implications.
Okay.
What if you could use blockchain technology to, like, rethink how we fund and distribute education or healthcare in your community?
Those are big questions.
They are. But the technomancers would say, don't be afraid to think big. Don't be afraid to experiment. Remember that smartphone example
Yeah.
a few decades ago?
Yeah.
The technology we have today seemed like pure science fiction. And yet, here we are. The possibilities are truly endless. It all starts with that spark of imagination, that willingness to ask, what if? And then to actually explore those possibilities, roll up your sleeves and get to work. The Technomancy Circle reminds us that we all have a role to play in shaping the future of technology. It's not something that's just happening to us. It's something we're actively creating.
And their vision, while ambitious, it's grounded in these principles we can all get behind.
Right.
Embracing uncertainty, prioritizing community over corporate control, democratizing access to knowledge and resources.
Absolutely. The Technomancy Circle is really just one example of this growing movement of people who are using technology to challenge the status quo, to create a more equitable and fulfilling world.
So what kind of technomancy magic will you bring to your corner of the world? That's something to think about. Until next time, keep those imaginations firing and keep diving deep.